Too long ago, when a $100 bill went a long way and it packed some punch at the supermarket, for example. But as we've seen over the past few years, that same $100 bill gets you less and less. But how much less? And will this problem of out of control inflation get any worse? Max?
Yeah, inflation has hit quite hard, and the value of goods across America, they have spiked. What once bought you a carton of eggs could now cost double, even triple that price. So to understand that, I spoke with a local financial analyst and a local food bank to understand what the surge in demand is.
Well, I mean, you got to look at the causes of inflation. So, COVID hit and everyone stayed at home and basically conserved their money. There was nothing we could spend money on. After inflation came out, people spent their money. Inflation was in 2022 was very high. It was over 9%.
After 2020, the inflation rate went into overdrive. The Federal Reserve has been keeping a close eye on the rate and basically trying to tame it down with interest rate hikes. Right now, it will cost you more money to borrow money or to buy a car or home with a loan. But as the inflation rate war continues to be fought, your basket at the grocery store might be getting smaller and smaller, with your bill getting bigger and bigger.
Through inflation, you're probably getting, this is a guess, you're probably getting 50 cents or 52 or 55. So you're definitely not getting the same thing.
The Fed wants to see inflation rates go down to 2%. It is unclear when that will happen, and for now, grocery stores and food banks are feeling the surge. Catholic Charities in Elmira says they are seeing double the amount of people this year in need of support, and that's when it comes to accessing food.
So we're seeing that people are in need of just stretching that grocery budget.
With the $100 bill, what would this buy you today, in general?
Yeah.
As close to the dollar as we can be.
Sure. So if we went to the grocery store, it would buy us just about this much here. So maybe enough food for a few days for a family of 2 or 3, maybe. It's not going to be enough to get you groceries for the week.
Compared to 2019, the basket that cost you $100 today would have been roughly $20 cheaper right before the pandemic. That's according to inflation data available online. If you break down the math, if you bought $100 of groceries once a week for a year, on average, you lost $1,000 in purchasing power since 2019. And on top of that, some items at the stores saw price hikes that outpaced inflation. Another issue is shrinkflation. That's where prices remain the same, but the item gets smaller or even weighs less. Basically, your purchasing power is decreasing. But there is a glimmer of hope in the future.
The thing to tell people is that inflation is on the decline, and we shouldn't see those levels we saw, in 2022 where we had 9%. So it's coming down, but it may be stickier and may last longer than some people hope.
And with no clear end in sight, high rates of inflation will be here to stay for the foreseeable future. And support is available from the food bank for those who are in need of it. And as we mentioned, the Fed is hiking interest rates to curb inflation. But for some industry experts, they fear that the higher prices are here to stay. Nick.